Have you ever looked at a mythological creature and thought, where did people even come up with this? Believe it or not, some of these so-called myths might have roots in real, ancient animals that once roamed the earth. From giant wolves and four-tusked elephants to sea monsters and sky kings, let's explore 7 mythical creatures that might not be so mythical after all. Alright, so if you've seen Thor Ragnarok, you might remember the giant wolf that shows up during the chaos. That creature is Fenrir, a massive wolf from Norse mythology said to be powerful enough to bring about the end of the world. But here's the thing, Fenrir might not be 100% fiction. During the Ice Age, Earth was home to dire wolves, real, massive predators that were 25% bigger than today's gray wolves. These beasts weren't just oversized fluff balls, they were muscular, aggressive, and had stronger jaws, making them excellent hunters. They primarily hunted huge Ice Age animals like mammoths and giant sloths. But as the Ice Age ended and their food sources vanished, dire wolves went extinct. Meanwhile, smaller wolves, like the gray wolf we know today, managed to survive. So while Fenrir's got a mythological twist, real-life dire wolves probably inspired those legendary stories. In 1997, a strange low-frequency sound was picked up deep in the Pacific Ocean. It was so loud that it could be heard over thousands of kilometers. Scientists nicknamed it the bloop. Now the internet did its thing. People started guessing that it must be some kind of giant sea creature, maybe even bigger than a blue whale. Eventually, scientists figured out the sound came from icebergs cracking and shifting in Antarctica. But that didn't stop people from imagining what kind of enormous creature could make a noise like that. And it turns out, in prehistoric oceans, there were terrifying giants. One example? Leadsichthys, an enormous fish from the Jurassic era, could open its mouth, which was lined with thousands of tiny teeth wide enough to swallow a human whole. So even though the bloop wasn't a real monster, creatures big enough to inspire it absolutely existed. And finally, let's talk about bovids, animals like cattle, buffalo, and bison. They've played a huge role in mythology and culture. The Greeks had minotaurs, Native Americans consider buffalo sacred, and Hindu texts honor bulls as divine. But were there actual giants among them? Oh yes. During the Ice Age, bison latifrons ruled the plains of North America. These creatures were as big as SUVs, with horns so wide a small car could fit between them. They evolved from the steppe bison, whose frozen remains have been found in Siberia. These giant animals were symbols of strength, but just like many other Ice Age creatures, they eventually went extinct due to hunting and environmental shifts. The bones and skulls they left behind? You can bet they sparked legends of giant sacred bulls. In Hindu mythology, there's a sacred creature called Airavata, a four-tusked white elephant that serves as the mount of the god Indra. You'll even see four-tusked elephants in ancient texts like the Ramayana. Now, most people assume that's all fantasy, but guess what? Millions of years ago, real animals just like that roamed the earth. Creatures called gomphotheres, relatives of modern elephants, had 4 tusks, 2 upper and 2 lower, and they weren't small either. These giants used their lower tusks, almost like shovels, digging through dirt and plants to find food. Early humans like Homo erectus might have stumbled across their skeletons or fossils, and from that, the stories of sacred 4-tusked elephants were born. So yeah, Airavata may have had prehistoric roots. Now let's hop over to Japan. If you've watched anime like Doraemon, you might have heard of the Kappa, a water-dwelling, turtle-like monster known for pulling people into rivers and lakes. But what if this terrifying little monster was inspired by something real? Meet Archelon, the largest turtle species ever discovered. It lived during the time of dinosaurs and grew up to 15 feet long, with massive, crushing beaks, strong enough to crush bones and shells. If one of these popped its head out of the water today, we'd probably freak out too, and it would absolutely fuel terrifying stories for centuries. So yes, the kappa might have come from real ancient turtles. The griffin is one of the most iconic mythological creatures, part lion, part eagle, and all majestic. You see it in everything from ancient scrolls to fantasy novels. But where did this hybrid come from? Ancient people who stumbled across ceratopsian dinosaur fossils, like Protoceratops, might have been the first to imagine such a beast. These fossils had a beak-like mouth and a large, lion-sized body, a strange combo that might have triggered the idea of a half-eagle, half-lion creature. But wait, there's more. In New Zealand, just 700 years ago, there lived a real-life sky predator, Haast's eagle. This bird was the largest eagle ever known, capable of snatching and killing moa birds that weighed over 250 kg. When humans arrived in New Zealand, they hunted moa into extinction, and that led to the eagle's downfall too. So whether it's through fossil confusion or real predator birds, the griffin has more reality than you might think. Let's head deep into the Amazon now. In tribal folklore, there's a creature called the mapinguari. This thing is wild. It's described as having one eye, a mouth on its belly, and a roar that can send animals fleeing. Sounds completely made up, right? Well, not so fast. Thousands of years ago, giant ground sloths lived in South America. These animals were as big as elephants and walked on two legs. They had thick hides, long claws, and an intimidating presence. Scientists believe that after these massive sloths went extinct, likely due to climate change and human hunting, stories about them morphed into the legend of the mapinguari. So maybe it didn't have a mouth on its stomach, but something like the mapinguari could have walked the earth very well. Myths and legends aren't always just fairy tales. Sometimes they're echoes of something real. Whether it's a thunderous roar in the jungle, a strange sound from the deep sea, or a fossil uncovered by early humans, mythology might be our first form of science, a way people made sense of the mysterious world around them. So the next time you hear about a fire-breathing dragon or a sea serpent, pause before you roll your eyes, because who knows, maybe, just maybe, they did walk this earth.